Right now in the market, can I get a 50x return in crypto? It's pretty disheartening when you see the jumps that you've missed out on, but the good news is right now the market's in a downturn, and now is when you have the opportunity to make outsized returns that go up to 50x, 60x, 75x, and more. You just have to smartly play this downturn. Now let's get something straight. I personally don't care if you have a firm belief in DeFi or crypto, or if you're just super bearish on the whole space. You're here watching this video because you want to make money on this stuff. And that's what we're going to focus on right now in this video. We're going to talk about tactics and specific coins we're going to get into as well. But before we jump into everything, I want you all to know that this is not financial advice. While I'm a whale in the space and I've made millions in crypto, that doesn't mean I won't lose millions in crypto. I'm just using my experience to give you ideas of what most likely is going to happen in the market and tactics that you can use to make money on it. So when I talk about specific coins in this video too, I don't want you to put all of your money into a single coin. Instead, there's strategy to this stuff. There's a way to smartly do it. If you're going to act like a shrimp, the whales are going to eat you. I'm personally not aping into anything right now. I'm biting here and there, but for the most part, I'm on the sidelines, earning 6% to 19% APYs while staking stable coins. Super safe investments relative to the rest of crypto. I'm also going in, I'm doing a little bit of dollar cost averaging on some coins. I just finished one up. I'll talk about that too. If you guys are following me on Twitter, you would have seen it, and hopefully you made some money as well along the way. If you try to time the market without doing dollar cost averaging, or you try to buy all in at the same exact time, like you try to just put all your coins into one space, you're probably going to really stress yourself out and you're probably going to lose. Because if you try and time the market, you can't. There's too many factors. You could get lucky, but there's too many factors that could affect a coin's price. Especially right now, there's a lot of stuff going on. But the main point is that you can't predict when to buy in. So there's a certain strategy of how you buy in and what coins to buy in for. Let's go and take a look at some of these coins and we're going to talk about them. Now let's talk about timing the market. And let's see if you try to time the market of Bitcoin and what that looks like. People probably thought they were timing the market all the way down this drop, right? And then they kept dropping and kept dropping and kept dropping. A lot of people thought they were timing the market along the way down. And that probably happened throughout this whole entire process here until it eventually just exploded over the past couple of years. The problem is, if you try to time the market, you're really trying to catch a falling sword, which is really, really tricky to do. So if you try and buy right here, then you notice that it keeps dropping and dropping, and you lose half your value. Or I guess if you try and buy here, it drops to here, you've lost triple your value, and then you're just stuck with either deciding if you want to sell it or if you want to hold it for another few years. Instead, we're talking about making gains that you can get short term and then flip those into another project where you can make other gains. We're trying to trade like whales here and do it right. But we want to do it smart. If you try and just throw all your money into one position, then you're going to lose. You're going to see that go down. So timing the market's pretty tricky to do, but what you like to do is you like to invest once you start to see an uptick in price. So once you see the market start to go back up materially, then you can start to think about getting into it. Recently, I've seen a lot of posts about people saying that we're back, but to me, this doesn't necessarily indicate that we're back, right? This is not the jump that we're looking for. It's trending the right way, and if we keep watching it go up, I think that's an indication that we're moving in the right direction. But again, there's still way too much going on to affect the price of Bitcoin. So let's go. I want to show you guys an example of something I did recently with another coin. And if you were following me on Twitter, you would have seen this. So let's go into, for example, Joe. It's based on Avalanche. Now, before I get into Joe, it's a DEX for Avalanche. It's kind of like this one-stop shop where you can stake and farm and swap your coins, kind of if you're used to Ethereum, or whatever other layer ones, you're probably thinking of Uniswap or Sushi. It's kind of similar to that, but specifically for Avalanche, it's the #1 DEX on Avalanche. For those of you who don't know, DEX is decentralized exchange. Avalanche, I'm pretty bullish on. I'm a developer myself by heart. That's my background. I really cling to tech and believe in that a lot. Not that that's the only thing that you should look at, but what I think is important to look at is the number of unique developers that are using the platform. So this is beginning of January of 2021 versus January 2022. And what's really interesting about this is that there's so many projects that are recruiting new people to AVAX. That alone is an indicator that this is just getting started. With all of this that has just happened in the latter half of the year, in the last 20 days alone, we've grown another 20% on top of this, which is just crazy. It's really unprecedented levels of growth in developers, and the amount of transactions and contracts deployed is starting to surpass Ethereum. Now, the volume, like the amount and price of each transaction, is less than Ethereum, but the fact that we're starting to see this trend, we're going to start to see more and more projects that more and more people are going to start to use, and a lot of those are not even being marketed yet. So I'm a big fan of AVAX, but with AVAX growing, it can only grow so far. But what I like to do is look at the micro caps both beneath AVAX. So as AVAX starts to go back up, right now I want to say that AVAX is around $70. It got down to 65, 64, and what we're going to want to see is it'll go back up to this 120 range, right? Over the course of next several months or over the course of the year, confident that it'll get back up there, and we'll just have to watch it, maybe higher. But in the meantime, while that doubles, and that's really exciting to get from $70 all the way up to get from $70 all the way up to 120, you're going to make a really good return. But if we're going to get 100x return or 50x return, we want to look at some of the smaller platforms. So when we look at Joe, we'll go back to that, and I'll show you guys the platform here in a second, but I want to show you guys how I would actually go about trading Joe. Because if you're going to throw all your money into this right now, you might lose it all, and that's not the way to do it. So what you actually want to do is you want to trade Joe slowly. So what you want to do is you want to start buying Joe as it drops. So when I tweeted out, it was about right here, and I said, hey, right now is a good time to start looking at Joe. What that means is you start buying a little bit of it. You buy 5% of what you want to potentially allocate, and then it drops another 10%. And then you just put in 10% of what you wanted to allocate. So you're 15% in. So let's say you say, I want to put $10,000 into this at a max. You put $500 in. Then you put another 1,000. It drops more. You put another 1,000. Now we're going to put 3,000 in. Now we're going to put 2,000. And you keep increasing the amount that you put in as the price drops. And then what happens is you're overweighted at the lower prices. And when it starts to tick back up, you start selling that. And then it goes back up even more. You sell more, and you sell all along this curve upwards. So right now, I still own a decent amount of Joe, but I made money in just this dip right here, down and up. Again, follow me at Twitter, the DeFi Whale, if you want to know about these as they happen. I can't post a video every time, but I'll post the reactive videos, and I want to show you guys the trends that I was looking for in what showed this. And this is an example of a coin that I'm bullish on. We can go into the utility of the coin and things like that, but we're trying to make money on this, and this is what we're really focused on here. So let's go into let's take a step back. Let's look 3 months ago, and let's look 1 year ago. What you're going to see is the price really has already shown the highs that it could be, and it shows the lows that it can get to as well. And right now is when you could buy, because there's a lot of potential to scale beyond these. If you cross-reference this with AVAX's price, it makes sense that during this time, Joe was exploding and doing really well. But once we see AVAX start to rise again, if you're bullish on AVAX, when AVAX doubles, and if Joe can get back to these kinds of levels, let's say Joe gets back to a $5 value, you're going to 4x your value, not double. There's a lot more potential for this to go up. And what I think is important to look at for Joe is the kind of path has been paved already when you look at Uniswap and what Uniswap has done, and some of these other, Sushi Swap, those kind of coin prices are very similar. And then you look at Joe and you say, I really like the actual platform and what it does. So this is just to give you guys a sneak peek into it. We're kind of going off script a little bit here, but I think it's important to show the what you can do with Joe. And the idea is that you can do a lot of stuff and it's super user friendly. I really like the farming and the staking and everything they have. They're releasing a lot of cool features pretty consistently. The UX is super easy to use. As you can see, I've got a little over $11,000 in XJoe right now. That's from staking it and you put it into a farm. And then there's other farms you can do too. And I'm in several of those. So for example, I'm also in this farm right here. We've got an APR of 40.1%. We've got $17,000 worth of value in here, and that stake is printing out Joe for me. And you can stake Joe and earn that way. So you're not just focused on the price with DeFi. You also can look at the staking rewards that you can get. So it kind of compounds your returns, and that's really what we want to capitalize on with this kind of stuff. And so just to go back to, we're going to look at the Joe price, and I want to show to this site that I think is a really good value for people to use, which is just looking at AVAX's activity. You can go on their site and you can see everything. This is where I pulled the screenshots from earlier. And this kind of stuff is available on the websites. It's crazy to me how many people invest in DeFi, but they don't look at, you should go to the site, go to the website of what you're thinking about investing in and seeing what they're doing. They have all the stats that you could possibly want to look at and what you want to basically put your investment into. So another thing that we're going to look at here is let's go back to, so we're going to go back to, let's just look at DeFi, and when we're looking at the returns that we want to make, part of it is you can invest in Avalanche and you can have a lot of confidence that this is going to go up. If it doesn't go up over the next few months, over the next few years, it will go up a considerable amount. This is becoming competitive with Ethereum, I think, and it's something to really look out for. Luna, absolutely another coin that you should be looking at, do your research on. There's a lot in here that's really promising, has really promising futures. But what you want to be really good at is understanding which of these that nobody else has heard of is going to do really well in the future. Is Beefy Finance going to be the next big thing? And I, by the way, I would recommend looking into Beefy. Just look at some of the stuff they have going on in terms of their staking and stuff you can do with Beefy. There's a lot of good stuff, but it's the same way with a lot of these different coins, and the ones that nobody has heard of is where you're going to see those 50x returns. And one way to do that is basing it off of the layer ones that you know and trust. So for example, if you really trust AVAX, you should look at the coins that are associated with AVAX DeFi that's going to raise the value of it. So for example, I threw out Joe, but I just want you guys to know what to look at when you're considering trading right now when the market is down. Because when the market's down, you don't want to throw everything in. You want to slowly buy, slowly purchase on the downtrend. So when it goes up, you've captured all this down. And then when it goes back up, you've actually made gains. You didn't throw everything down right here. You continued to buy on the way down. So this is the kind of stuff that I want you guys to start looking at and really start digging into and keeping an eye on. This video is not to say throw all your money into a single cryptocurrency. It's to show you what you should look for when you're investing in DeFi right now in this market. You have to be careful because AVAX could go to $20. We could see a really bad market. No one can predict that, but it could happen. So just to be safe, invest carefully. don't be greedy with your returns. Be safe and you might get some really high returns still. And like I said, right now you don't have to not be earning on your money sitting around. I have most of my money right now, 98% of my crypto investments are in stable coins. So I recommend staying on the sidelines until you see enough of an uplift that you decide it's worth getting back into. If you guys want me to make a video specifically on the stable coins that I'm invested into, that I'm earning returns on, that I have a guaranteed APY on these stable coins, let me know. I'll show you what I've invested into. I'm in several, diversified kind of across the board, but I can show you, what I have in there and how much it is and why I'm in certain ones. Make sure to comment and subscribe, and I'll let you guys know when those videos are live. Also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter. If I'm gonna be telling you guys about stuff I'm looking at investing, I can tweet all day long, but I can't post videos all day long. These are going to be more so explainer videos, talking a little bit about the strategies and what I'm doing. But when it comes to specific coins, it's going to be an in-the-moment thing, and Twitter's the place to do that. So follow me on Twitter at the DeFi Whale. Make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I've got a lot of videos coming out that I think you guys are going to really like and benefit from. And right now, in this downturn of the market, this is where we start getting the returns. This is where, we didn't want to buy right here at the top. Right now is when we start thinking about buying. So when we get back up to here and beyond, we're making really, really great returns. And when we do that with smaller coins underneath the layer ones, that's where we start to see the outsized returns. That's when we get to the 50x, the 100x. Make sure you guys follow me closely so you don't miss when I announce some of these opportunities, because I'm spending my entire day reading about this stuff, and I want you guys to know about what I'm seeing. And until then, later, guppies.